Good morning, Year 4. Mrs. Pettifer here. This is your PSHE task for Monday the 25th of January. Don't worry about writing this learning challenge down. It will be on the task that is being sent out to you. But let's read it together. Can you recognise the nature and consequences of discrimination? Now, we looked at this learning challenge at the beginning of this half term when we were studying our Judaism work. But now we're going to look at it again with a slightly new angle connected to our new topic. Now, before we start that, let's see what we can remember from our past PSHE knowledge that might help us today. So, have a think about these questions. What is bullying? What is cyberbullying? And where could you get help for yourself and others if they were experiencing bullying or cyberbullying? So we've talked about this a lot in school, in our last in-school topic. Just remind yourself what those things mean. Right, today we're going to remind ourselves about discrimination. Discrimination is when someone is treated unfairly or differently due to who they are or their characteristics. There are different things that people are discriminated for. It can be their race or religion, gender, age, or disability. It's important we all know about discrimination so we can actively fight against it. So let's think carefully about what that means. Discrimination is a big word, but it means to treat someone else unfairly or differently just because of who they are, because they might be different in some way to you. Discrimination is mostly a negative thing. At school, we know that equality is one of our gospel values, and we know that treating people equally is so important. So today we're going to think about times when people have not been treated equally and they've been discriminated against. So, some questions to think about. Was Idia discriminated against because of her gender, because she was a girl? So think about our story, Idia of the Benin Kingdom. What was she told she couldn't do because of her gender? What about this next question? Did Idia face discrimination because of her age? What was she told she couldn't do because she was too young? Or what was she made to feel she couldn't do? Often people are told, oh, you can't do that. You're just a child, you're just a kid, or you're just a girl. But that's discrimination. And the last one, did the Edo people discriminate against people from other African tribes? So this relates back to our non-fiction text that we looked at the beginning of this topic. Were people treated differently or unfairly because they came from different parts of Africa? So just have a think about those questions. What about this then? How would you feel if you were told you couldn't live your dreams because of your age or your gender, being a boy or a girl? Think about something you love doing and think about how it would feel if you were told you can't do that because you're just a boy, or you can't do that, you're just a girl, or you can't do that, you're too young. How would that make you feel? What about this second question? How would you feel if you were traded as a slave just because you came from a different place? If you were told, you're not from here, so you don't deserve to be free and to do what you want. You have to do my work, and you have to do it for no money. And you've got no choice in the matter. How would that make you feel? So those are both examples of discrimination. And to understand that, it's useful to put yourself in the position of somebody who's feeling discriminated. We can understand how other people feel if we try hard enough, and then we can think how that affects our behaviour towards them. Right, so let's think about the consequences of discrimination. We use the word consequences at school, and it means what will happen because of certain actions. If you do something, what will happen because of that? So if we discriminate, what could happen? Idia stood up for her rights and overcame the discrimination she faced. What other people have we learnt about who fought against discrimination? So maybe think about our Judaism week, the people that we learn about in the Jewish Testament who stood up against discrimination, or are there people we've learnt about in history who said, no, I shouldn't be treated differently just because I'm a girl, or I shouldn't be treated differently just because I come from a different country? Can you think of any particular people? Maybe any role models? And then what happens when discrimination isn't stopped? How can it be harmful? So you might want to think about examples when people don't stand up and say, no, that's wrong, and people don't try to stop it. How could that harm a person or even a whole community? Okay, so all of the questions we've just discussed, or the questions I've just asked and asked you to think about, will form your PSHE task today. We want you to answer each question really thoughtfully in your topic book, if you've got that at home, or on a piece of paper to bring back into school if you are just working from home today. Really take your time to think about those questions. If you've got somebody at home with you who can discuss those questions, that would be great, but don't worry if you haven't. If your adults are busy doing their own work today, just take time to think about those questions yourself. Okay, well done Year 4.